Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of The Cider Drinker. And on today's episode I'm doing something slightly different because I'm going back to a cider that I reviewed previously to try out their new updated cider. Now, you'll know a few reviews back I did Thatchers Vintage of 2010, and just recently they've redesigned it and released Thatchers 2011 Vintage. Now, for those of you that are too lazy to go back and watch that review to get a look at the details, I'm actually going to read them out here because, to be honest, 2011 Vintage has pretty much the same details as the 2010 Vintage, in that it comes in these 500ml bottles, and I do believe that is the only way you can get it too. And it comes in at a whopping 7.4% volume, as most vintage ciders do. They are quite, up there with the strengths. The price is still the same on Thatcher's website. You can still get this bottle for £1.55, and it's still a medium dry tasting cider. But the reason I'm revisiting it is because I want to know if the years make a difference to the taste of it. Now, first of all, I'm totally blown away by their new design by this, because I wasn't really too impressed with the 2010 Vintage design. I felt that it was just too wordy, and the design just didn't really appeal to you. It didn't really draw you into it and make you buy it. This, however, looks 100 times better, in my eyes anyway. You probably can't see it here, but this black label has got a little dimpling on the front of it, and it's got a real nice floral design around it. You probably can't see it in the light, but I'll try and get it. Can you kind of see it in that light? Probably not, but trust me, it's there. And I'm assuming that on the front there is old Henry Thatcher, right on the front there. It just looks so much better in my eyes. Now, the description is a little bit different on the back as well, so I'll read that out. It was back in 1904 that William Thatcher, sorry, I'm getting confused with Henry Weston there, sorry. Hence one of my two favourite cider companies got mixed up there, but anyway. Yeah, it was back in 1904 that William Thatcher first began cider making at the family farm in Somerset. All of that craftsmanship has been poured into this special vintage cider using the pick of the apples from the 2011 crop. It has matured in oak vat to create a traditional medium dry cider, fresh and softly rounded with a refreshing sparkle. So there we go, there's your description. But yeah, like I say, I just absolutely love this bottle design now. They've just done such a brilliant job on this, and it just looks so much more appealing. It really makes you want to go out and buy it. Well, for me anyway. So they've done a real good job there, so they get marks up for that. But the main reason I'm doing this review is to see if it tastes any different. So, excuse me while I get the top off. Wow, nice old bit. Oh. Almost. Cool, it's a lively one. Blimey. That almost went over the top. So let's get a whiff. On the nose, it smells exactly the same as it does with the 2010 Vintage, in that it smells extremely strong, as it should do, 7.4%, and you are getting that oak undertone as well, as it did in the 2010 Vintage. So, smells exactly the same, but will it taste exactly the same? I'm just going to go and pour this in the glass. I did say to myself I will do the 2011 Vintage because I really want to know if it tastes any different to the 2010 Vintage. Because I've not actually tried this one yet. I've not tried the 2011 variety, so it'll be interesting to see. Right, well, there we go. It looks exactly the same as the 2010 Vintage, in that you probably again can't see it in this light, but it's got a nice old golden colour to it, lightly carbonated too, and again there's still a couple of hefty bubbles coming off of it too, but again, bubble size doesn't really matter much, it's all about the carbonation. But yeah, nicely carbonated, so that's cool. Let's get a whiff in the glass. Now it does smell slightly different in the glass. You have still got that oak undertone to it, but there's another smell to it. There's almost a sort of a sweetness coming off of it. It's I'm trying to think of it. It's almost like a dark toffee sort of smell. That actually does smell a lot more pleasant. Actually, that was it. It's just like a slight hint of pear drops. If you ever had like the yellow pear drops, it's got that it's got that slight undertone to it as well. That's really pleasantly smelling. So, right, I'm going to dive right into this. So, cheers guys, and here's to 2011 vintage. Wow. That tastes so much better than the 2010 vintage. Wow. That is amazing. I never would have thought it would have tasted any different to the 2010 vintage, but wow, my god, this just tastes so much better. There's so much flavour coming off of this. You've got, like I say, you've got that slight hint of pear drops at the start, and then as the taste kind of lingers about in your mouth, you get that slight oak undertone as well that you did in the 2010 vintage. But the aftertaste is, the aftertaste is dry. You can you can taste the tannins that they've put into it as well. And wow, that just tastes loads better than the 2010 vintage. I mean, that tasted great anyway, but this one is just so much better. This is going to sound really strange, but you're getting a slight hint of sun-ripened oranges coming off a bit too. I don't really know where that's coming from, but wow, it tastes amazing. It really does. The only thing that I will mark it down for slightly is that even though it's an oak-aged Somerset cider, you can't really taste any of the oak anymore. And that's a little bit disappointing because, in the 2010 vintage you could really taste the oak, especially in the aftertaste. It really hit you home. And actually, it doesn't taste as strong as 7.4% like the previous version did. This one is one of those ciders that doesn't taste as strong as it is. Which, don't get me wrong, isn't bad, but it's just not really going to appeal to people that like the 2010 vintage, definitely. Don't get me wrong, there is that slight undertone throughout the whole taste, but it's just not there as prominently this time. What is there though is just an amalgamation of other flavours that are here, and to be honest, it just culminates into a much better tasting cider than the previous one. So if you liked the 2010 vintage, you are going to absolutely love the 2011 variety. Thatchers, you have just done such a much better job at the 2011 variety, definitely. I've said 2011 quite a lot today, haven't I? But there you go, it is about the 2011 vintage, and to be honest, done a bang up job with it, definitely. Obviously this is going to be a shorter review because I've reviewed this one before, but for a final verdict actually I'll get a final taste first. Yeah, it's just really dry. Well, not really dry, but you've got that dry undertone with the oak, and like I say, you have the pear drops, and for some reason sun-ripened oranges are mixed into this as well. And you can really taste the tannins in the aftertaste too, which just completes the flavour and adds to the whole touch of character and class that this cider's bringing. It's just absolutely amazing. So, final verdict, Thatchers 2011 gets a 9 out of 10 from me. As you know, the 2010 vintage got an 8 out of 10, so that's a step up. They've just produced a real quality cider, Thatchers here. So if you see it in your local shop, go out and buy a bottle of this. You will not be disappointed. Thatchers, keep up with the good work, because you are just creating such top quality ciders, and I love you guys for it. So that was another episode of The Cider Drinker for you guys. I hope you liked it, because, God blimey, I certainly did. Oh, excuse me. So, until next time, I will be back with another delicious and tasty cider. Until then, I'm gonna go, sit back, relax, and enjoy this nice glass of Thatcher's 2011 vintage. What a corker. Take care, guys. Until next time.